I always like that song. And it's
Yeah, like he's gonna punch me in the face right now. Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex. My name is Michael Mansour, and I'm joined as always by my peppy and cheerful co-host Alexander Volt. Say hello.
never had anyone describe me as peppy before, but hello.
This is a new beginning. This is Every Album Ever, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. That's a whole new discography per episode. And today we'll be discussing every album by
The Sword.
It's an Alex pick.
It is an Alex pick. Alex is tired of emotionally exhausting bands.
We've had a couple over the past months.
And I kind of timed that correctly, because if I didn't do this, I'd probably be in a world of hurt right now. So the universe kind of, I was going to say throw me a bone, but it hasn't. It hasn't.
No.
But I threw myself a bone.
Yeah, you found your own bones. You threw it to yourself. It's been a very Johnny Cash month for you.
Yes.
A couple months for you. It's been a rough time.
Yes.
But you're on the other side of it now. You're moving forward. We have swords now.
I have swords. I have the future. I think exactly what I told Mike was I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to be challenged. I just want to listen to some straightforward rock and roll.
There is no digging into this band. This is just what you see is what you get.
Yes.
For better or worse, this is what The Sword is.
Yes. If this is not your cup of tea,
you know immediately.
Yeah. You know one album if it is your thing or not.
I sure hope you like pentatonic scales, people, because that's every single song, basically.
Yes. Which I guess I do.
I guess I mean, it's cool. I was pretty fucking exhausted by the end of this. I was pretty defeated.
I'm sorry. I had a feeling that might happen to you, but I was like, Mike's going to be emotionally beat down whether we do a noise band or if we do this either way.
That's true. Yeah, I have the one mode. But at least this is because I'm not a big stoner rock guy or doom metal guy. Check out St. Vitus. We did cover them.
Lord knows I am.
And Alex is. However, I don't like it when I have to take notes on it and analyze it.
Yes.
This happened with almost every single one of these albums where I sat down to take notes like, oh boy, here we go. I'm taking notes like, all right, that's cool. I get it. All right, fine. And then I step away and I listen to it again, the same album again in the car or something like that. This is fucking rad, dude.
Yeah.
And you just crank it because it's not meant to be analyze it. It's not that kind of music.
It's two reactions. It rips or it doesn't rip.
That's all it is. That's all it is. Because you can really dissect some weird extreme stuff like a Ruins of Beverus because there's a lot in there. But this is meant to pump you up or not. That's all it is.
You know what kind of gets me about this band is I feel like there was the potential to maybe do some different things as we get later in the discography, but this never fully committed to it. So
yeah, it was a lot of I don't want to say half measures, but a lot of maybe we'll try a little bit of this. Just kidding. We're just going to fucking now we broke up. And then we broke.
And that's another reason we're doing it. They broke up recently.
Yeah.
And I don't know who that person in the comments was who suggested this band, but you got very lucky.
we don't respond to any more requests anymore unless they're on the Patreon.
Yes.
It's just a great coincidence that we were already planning to do them.
Yeah.
But it does fit our MO quite a bit. Just the fact that they're a metal band that's not super, super famous. So,
but they did seem to, be pretty lucky. It didn't they seemed to have a lot of buzz from the beginning.
I don't know anything about them other than just the remnants or the peripheral stuff I got from you over the years.
I believe they kind of blew up when they played a South by Southwest show. And I remember hearing about them because they used to jokingly always add Lars Ulrich of Metallica to their guest list.
Really?
Just as a joke. He was always on the guest list. He didn't know they existed, but and he found out one day and he actually showed up.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, he liked them enough that they opened up for Metallica a few
I didn't
times.
Know that.
So, so that's how I heard about them was they had this joke that Lars was always on the guest list.
That is very funny because no one likes Lars, and that's
I think that was the point. Like,
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, but he found out about the joke and he showed up to one of their shows one night.
I like Lars.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not as like a fun guy to, I mean, no, he actually probably is a fun guy to hang out with, but like the image of Lars is like, all right, I don't want to be around that guy.
Mhm.
But I think he actually is a very interesting and really powerful dude. Like when he puts his mind to something, like that dude is a competent motherfucker.
Yes, he is.
So how far back do you go with this band?
I don't know if the debut album counts as day one. I don't think they really had much before that, but I'll throw myself in day one, first album.
Oh shit.
It kind of helped open my mind to the sludge and the doom, because this was like one of the first like heavy bands where speed wasn't always the focus, where it was more focused on the heaviness of it. And not far behind is like the Melvins and all that. So
yeah, it does feel like a nice gateway drug to some wilder stuff.
It absolutely is. If you have like one of those annoying classic rock kids, which I kind of was, you can show them the sword to get them going
easily. If you're already into Black Sabbath, you're just one notch off with the sword, essentially.
Yes.
Much like most other doom metal bands, like, I mean, it's extremely Sabbathy for the first while, and then even when they start changing a little bit, they're not like Sabbathy as much, but they're still extremely bar rock kind of stuff.
They go from Black Sabbath to Thin Lizzy.
Pretty much. Less guitar harmonies, but still, yeah, it's there. The ZZ Top is definitely there.
Yeah.
But a fun band, and it's like what is it like? They're like an occasion band. Like if you with the right setting, you put it on and no one's going to complain.
Oh, for sure. And I think like in the age of Guitar Heroes, having one of their songs. Well, I think they ended up having like 2 or 3 songs in the series overall. But
which one?
Freya.
Oh, that makes sense.
And was it Black River or Take the Black?
Mm-hmm.
I think those were featured in those games. So,
and I'll do it.
And Freya is a very, very fun song to play in those games for the 5 people who still play them.
There's definitely more than 5.
I know.
There's got to be a rabid fucking.
I'm just trying to bring it back.
I don't think you have to struggle that hard. I think there's a whole fucking guys are waiting.
I think people want it. I went into like a retro video game store like when things were opening up, and they were cleaned out of most things, and I was like, surely they'll have stupid plastic guitars because they always break. And they were like, we're even sold out of those. So I think it's rumbling.
Oh boy. If and then we're gonna take credit for it if it ends up happening.
I take credit for all the reissues and all the comeback reunion tours, even though I have nothing to do with them.
They don't know that. So we have some stuff here. So a couple of interviews from our history man, Tom Osman, which is big news, by the way. Our man Tom Osman, our history guy who's been with us for a while. New record coming out tomorrow. If you're watching this today, this is dropping March 1st. Collab album with Existent, Non-Existent called Industrial State of Mind. Is that what it's called? Yep, Industrial State of Mind. So check that out, TomOsmanSounds.com. There won't be a link in the description because it's not out for us yet, but there might be if you're watching later. Either way, TomOsmanSounds.com.
In the future, yes.
But he compiles a bunch of history for us and puts all the stuff in nice chronological order so we can keep track of it. So we have a few interviews here. We have 2 of them with guitarist Kyle Shutt. Both of them from 2018, but different sources. One with first drummer Trivett Wingo. Fuck man, that name sounds like
what a great name.
Yeah, it sounds like a science fiction kind of name.
It is the most Texas stoner metal name a person could have.
Yeah, hold on, Trivett Wingo.
Hell yeah.
I don't even. What could possibly be the origin of either of those names?
I have no idea, but glad it exists.
Trivet sounds like a power tool. There's the statement, their breakup statement from 2022. It's probably written by JD. But either way, that's the stuff we got here. Core members from beginning to end are John D. Was it Cronise?
I believe so.
On lead vocals and rhythm guitar, or JD Cronise. Cal Shutt on lead guitar. Bryan Richie on bass and keyboards. First drummer was Trivet Wingo, and then Jimmy Vela III replaced him 2011. So pretty cut and dry, straightforward.
I know, really not also nice change of pace. Unproblematic band.
In what way?
This compared to like Swan.
Oh, you mean in just like the messiness of all like the drama and the
yes, yeah. These are just nice boys.
Sometimes you just get a couple of nice dudes that just, hey, let's make some music. All right, guy, I like you, and then they make music.
Yeah. I love this man.
These guys, what are they from Austin?
Yes. Although the way Kyle Shutt talks about it, he makes it sound like he grew up wherever the Smalls grew up.
Oh yeah, it makes it sound like rural part of Texas.
I'm sure it wasn't that bad.
This is what Kyle Shutt says. He says, growing up in the small town where I'm from, there were no record stores. I think we had a Circuit City or a Walmart, so you knew about some stuff. Man, Circuit City.
You could dig for some albums.
I've found some fun albums at Circuit City. Nothing like obscure or anything.
Sure, I would. Circuit City or Best Buy on Tuesdays. That was like the best. That's when albums came out.
Oh yeah. He says, but one day I got my hands on a Converge CD and I absolutely didn't know you could make music like that. I really got into a label that at the time was called RoboDog Records, and it became Robotic Empire Records. I was blown away that there was a band in Texas that was making music like that. It was crazy. You can be in two bands with two jobs and it would all work out. Those were the days. So he meets JD at a Halloween party. Was it a Halloween party? Yeah,
no, they played a.
They were in a Misfits cover band that played at a Halloween party, and they just sort of agreed to play because they were both kind of unhappy in their bands. They wanted JD wanted to be in a heavier band. He was in like a party rock band. Kyle wanted to be in a more riff oriented band because he was in more of a hardcore band. And then all the metal bands at the time were like death metal, brutal stuff, really intense, as what you've also called it. He calls it here Cookie Monster kind of stuff.
There we go.
I mean, that is a lot of what death metal vocals sound like.
Yep.
But they were huge fans of, unsurprisingly, the Melvins. Check out those episodes. Sleep, Carp.
Carp is so underrated.
Yeah, is it both Jared and Cody?
I believe so. I may be wrong. It may just be Jared. Either way, underrated.
Cool band. I've only heard one album, but very cool band.
Yeah.
So yeah, they had at least a template of like what they wanted to do and what they sounded like. There wasn't too many bands that sounded like that. Not too many bands doing this sort of doom metal.
Not in. I hesitate to call them mainstream, but they did get recognition in ways a band like Sleep didn't at the time.
Really?
I do think Sleep was maybe broken up at the time, but I felt like this had like some rumblings. Maybe not like crazy radio play or anything like that.
But they did chart.
Yes.
Which is also, I wasn't expecting to see that. Like,
no.
Really?
Higher than I thought they would. Too.
For sure. Yeah. And it's not like you hear the music and it's like, oh, I don't see why this wouldn't be mass, like a sort of a mass appeal. But even still, it's like, oh, this little underdog band. Interesting.
Yeah. And this is also kind of like the death of heavy music and on radio. So
early 2000s. Yeah. It was
like,
it's a drought.
Inching towards it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was becoming a desert for sure. But, oh, goddamn, I decided to use a different port to plug my wireless mouse USB into. And it just fucking doesn't. It just
picked the wrong day.
It's just not cool. It's just not cool. It doesn't listen to me. But altogether, we have, 6 albums total that we're going to be covering. They technically have 7, but one of them is an acoustic album that it's all songs off the album that came out before, and it's not even it's not even the full album.
Yeah.
It's like a chunk of the songs from the album that came before. It seems like an obvious worst for us.
It's not necessary to cover.
If it were unique songs or just different songs, maybe even covers, I would be like, all right,
sure.
But it's just songs we literally have heard from the album before it. But yeah, so 6 total. First one came out, 2006. First one came out 2006. Last one before the breakup, 2018. Actually, several years before the breakup, but still.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, shut the fuck up. Manscaped is now selling beard products. That's right, they've gone from waist to face to help you replace that bulky razor with their brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Manscaped helped to get the golden rod of a Greek god, and now they've created the best tools for you to turn heads with a clean, perfectly groomed and conditioned beard. Finally, tame your mane by going to manscaped.com and using our code EAE for 20% off plus free shipping. If you're watching this, you're a fan of the sword, and you definitely guaranteed have a beard. It's time to get your fucking beard right, okay? This kit is about to change your life. The Beard Hedger Pro Kit has made it easier than ever to craft your signature look. This kit will take your facial hair anywhere from Gandalf to totally bare like your boy right here. It all starts with the Beard Hedger. This thing is a juggernaut of fixing faces. This waterproof cordless trimmer has a rotary wheel that gives you 20 haircutting lengths all with one guard, so no more messy drawers full of extra add-ons. Plus, the trimmer has a titanium coated T-blade that is tough on hair but smooth on your face, leading to single stroke efficiency that brings satisfaction one stroke at a time. The Pro Kit is much more than a trimmer, though. It comes with 4 dermatologist-tested formulations for your post-trim care. It has a beard shampoo and conditioner, because all your hair is different. Your beard hair is much more coarse and easier to damage. That's why the kit has shampoo and conditioner specially designed to moisturize, reduce ingrown hairs, and replenish your natural oils, promoting beard health. Next, the kit has Manscaped's Beard Oil. The nutrient-infused oil relieves dryness both on the beard and the skin beneath, while adding a little shimmer and shine to liven up the look. Cap it off with a beard balm, a pomade that shapes, styles, and moisturizes, bringing the amazing scent of fresh eucalyptus, rosemary, and lavender essential oils. The Beard Pro Kit also comes with 3 free gifts, a beard brush, comb, and scissors to ensure your beard is ready to impress. So get 20% off and free shipping with our code EAE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use our code EAE. The Manscaped Beard Hedger Pro Kit, the premier solution to face grooming. All right, where were we? Are you ready?
I am ready.
Hell yeah. So this is 2006's Age of Winters. That guitar tone says it all.
It warms the, I don't know if I'm using this phrase correctly, the cuckles of my soul.
It warms the cuckolds of your soul, for sure.
Is that a thing?
I have no idea.
What people say? I don't know. This is like... Yeah, you could be listening to My Soul by the Melvins right now.
Yep. Oh, it just feels good.
Yep. And this is the whole...
It's the whole argument. It's the whole... Yeah. It's basically the whole band.
I'm exaggerating a little bit.
The way this song leads into the second song is so confusing. They're basically one song.
Yeah, they do that a lot where they say they're 2 separate songs, but they're kind of one.
There's like no break.
Yeah.
Very Sabbath-y guitar lines here.
Yes. There is a difference between Melvins and Sabbath.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Now that's a Melvins progression right there.
Yeah, I can picture like Al singing over this too.
For sure.
Holy mountain, Yeah, let's get some of this.
Now we're here. This is with the sword. Through and through. Yeah. Those vocals, this type of riff, all the way through. middle part. Oh, it's fucking great. Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, it's a fucking style. It is exactly that.
I feel weird doing this, but I'm going to give this best personal favorite.
Personal favorite.
Yeah.
This one, so my introduction to the band was, I was in the car with you and you had them on.
Yeah.
And I was like, I never heard this. I was like, who is this? This is pretty cool. And you're like, it's a sword. And there was like no follow-up conversation. You just said the sword and then the conversation ended.
I probably just assumed you knew it or
absolutely not. So that's rad. So I decided to listen to them on my own time at the DMV.
Yeah.
That was not a good idea.
No.
I was like, I don't think I like this band.
It's going to be like pacing back and forth.
It's what I mean about the context, about the environment being such a big part of how you enjoy this band. The DMV is not a place to bump fucking doom metal. It just doesn't feel that good there.
Or you got to be like in a mindset to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know which album it was that you had on. I have a feeling it was this one because this one I was like, this is hard not to fuck. This is fucking great.
Yeah. I don't think this is a perfect album, but let me tell you, from beginning until maybe like the 7th track is pretty damn flawless in my book.
I don't have a problem with any track on here. I think this is a great album.
Yeah. I love those 2 opening tracks, Celestial Crown, Into Barrel's Blade.
Is that, yeah, that's a weird word. It's all Nordic.
Or old-timey English or both. And then like, man, the Freya just like kicks your dick in the dirt. And I love the way the ride cymbal sounds on this album.
Everything does feel really chunky and really powerful. The bass sounds awesome on here.
This is like, they got really lucky. This album sounds good because I think it's like, their first album, and it's very important that the heaviness cuts through. Yeah. And that the drums, feel big and ring a lot. Without
the heaviness, these songs are pretty like forgettable. It's all about the presentation, how it kicks your ass.
Yeah. And then Winter's Wolves was like the first song I ever heard by them. So I like the harder, crunchier riffs in that song.
Love it. I actually dig the vocals on there.
Yeah.
Actually, I would say this album has my favorite vocals on it.
Interesting.
Because JD doesn't really change his style at all. He's especially for like the first 3 albums, he's like singing in the same exact register. He's like in the same like window of notes. So it gets really really samey, more so than even like the riffs. Not so much here, but like on like the next 2 albums, it starts to get really samey. But this one, there are these vocal harmonies that basically never return.
Yeah.
It's like the only album with vocal harmonies. I don't know why they didn't like return to that well. It sounds pretty damn good.
And that's like there's so many, they do so many things like that throughout their career where I'm like, I think you guys have enough there where like you could revisit some of these.
A lot of things they could do. Why wouldn't you do a whole song with that instead of just a fucking interlude?
And it's just, and it's just like one off, but whatever. Iron Swan is like my favorite like medieval ripper song. Like if you hear Iron Swan and you don't like that song, like just go home. It's not for you. It's the first deviation we get with like that acoustic psychedelic feel in the intro, and then basically turns into a thrash song. Essentially, it's like tons of galloping, really heavy. Yes,
very cool, very cool. Love it.
March of the Lore.
March of the Lore.
Which is crazy because we've had so much heavy that song is like the heaviest, and then going on to things I think was interesting is the closing track.
Ebethron, something like that.
I'm going to say Ebethron.
Yeah.
Like you have like pepperings of like screaming vocals in the background.
Oh.
And I realized this band was like a reaction to too many screaming bands, but like I think like later in their career, again, it's something I think they could have explored more.
Yeah, like putting restrictions is a good way to distinguish yourself at first, but then you start breaking rules. You start adding little things in there. You start expanding. That's like the natural progression of art.
Because you talk about like how samey the vocals get. And like, man, in some of these like mid to later, if you had screaming, it's a whole new song.
Exactly. One thing I did like, and again, a thing they don't ever return to in March of the Lore, like around 3 minutes, it goes full black metal drums.
Yes.
We've maybe get one other moment in the entire discography where they do that. Maybe. It's like, yeah, little things there where you could lean into that more, but instead they just keep leaning into the fucking pentatonic hard rock riffs. That never goes away.
It never goes away, and it's great. But like, I really think these dudes are so talented. And then, we've on our year-end episodes, we've talked about All Them Witches, who are, I don't know if they're peers or inspired by the Sword, but kind of similar. They're a band from Texas, and I feel, and then they also kind of have like samey vocals.
Yeah.
But I feel like right now, All Them Witches is maybe trying to experiment and get out of this trap.
The album that I gave album of the year, Nothing Is the Ideal. That one is an album where every song is a different subgenre, basically. Where that's something that we don't ever get with the Sword. Where you could listen to that album, you could tell it's a later album because it's like, oh, why would they be doing something different with every song? It's because it feels like an experimentation kind of thing. We get some of that later on with this band, but not as like obvious.
Wouldn't it be funny if guys from the Sword just like slowly joined All Them Witches?
And it would be just like giant, massive, and they start playing the same fucking songs over and over again. Was it Lament for the Aurochs? Is like it's the beefy song. It's like 8 minutes. That one.
That's funny that you said that, because I was like, yeah, you need some beef after all that speed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it has like these short moments with the clean guitars that really build up some of the sections. I think it's a well-paced song. It's a good ass song. And yeah, there's really no dips here. It's just like the one mode, but it's also not
an ounce of fat on this album.
Yeah, it doesn't get boring. It's fucking solid. It is what it is though. I mean, if you don't like what that is, and you're good without it, but
yeah,
if you dig it, man, this is fucking rad.
Yeah, this is, if you like stoner, sludge, doom, this is like one of the like best debut albums. Maybe ever. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but
I wouldn't say ever, but I would say it's a formidable entry. It's a good ass debut.
There. It is up there.
This was released on Kamado Records, which is a very tiny label, I think, in New York. And the artwork was done by Conrad Keeley of Trail of Dead.
I never even knew that till I read Tom's notes.
That's crazy. That's fucking crazy.
That is rad.
I think it's his only, it's not his only credit, but it's his only non-Trail of Dead credit.
Yeah.
And
it's beautiful artwork.
It's great.
Yeah.
So most of these covers are really good. This is, I have 3 favorites. This is one of the 3 favorites.
Yeah.
The logo was done by Brian White, who did, I think, a bunch of Municipal Waste albums, which is interesting. And it was mastered by Rick Essig, who apparently did Bonnie Raitt, Kool and the Gang, the Rolling Stones, Butthole Surfers, Unsane, Tori Amos, and the Melvins.
So this was the correct man. If you want funk or noise, rock or soft, he does everything really well, apparently.
Holy shit, dude. That's wild. That's wild.
It's funny how like Bonnie Raitt, Rolling Stones, Kool and the Gang, and Tori Amos probably paid well.
Yeah.
But they seem like the outliers amongst the Butthole Surfers, Unsane, and the Melvins.
Yeah. Oh, it's ridiculous. Butthole Surfers weren't paying them shit. Unsane weren't paying them shit. Oh my God. But Alex's best and personal favorite, my personal favorite, a fucking hell of a debut. Stoner rock at its finest.
Yes.
Or doom metal at its finest.
Whatever you want to call it.
Whatever. Yeah.
Desert rock.
Desert rock.
Kids still use that term.
But we have more to cover.
Yes,
so
we do.
Here's the follow-up. This is 2008's Gods of the Earth.
Not enough bands doing medieval riffs.
Yeah, it's pretty specific.
You know what pisses me off is that they do the medieval riffs. They have a song about Game of Thrones on here before the fucking TV show.
All the books?
Or the books, A Song of Fire and Ice, if you want to be a fucking nerd about it. And And they put fucking Coldplay in Game of Thrones, but they didn't put the fucking sword.
It's too heavy, dude. Too heavy biscuits.
Here's the thing. Mastodon was in Game of Thrones.
No excuse. No excuse.
No excuse.
This whole song is basically an intro.
Somehow feels heavier than the last album.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's about the same, but
More or less. I mean, this is a significantly more evil, angry riff than a lot of the stuff on the
I think
first
that's
album.
what drives it a little
Yeah.
more. This part is so pretty.
God, those drums are wild, man.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Stops on dies.
So metal. It's so metal. Yeah, I fucking rules. We're not gonna get to any vocals because it's literally the whole song is instrumental.
Yeah, and like, I feel insane. We listened to two. Usually, we cut off like a minute 30 into the song. We're like, okay, but these songs we're listening to like 2 minutes because this feels so good.
Yeah, they feel great. This one I felt was a step down from the debut.
I went back and forth. I think I like the 1-2 punch of the debut and this one.
I like it more the more I hear it. On second listen, I liked it way, way more. Again, it's the thing of like, don't listen to it trying to take notes on it. It's not as good when you do that way. But the biggest culprit, easily, is the production.
Yeah.
It has like a really garagey feel.
Yeah, where we just like put over how good the production was on the first one. And this one sounds a little more empty where like letting things ring and it is very important to the sound of the band, and it sounds a little quieter.
It sounds like cheaper too.
Mm-hmm.
Like the bass is really buried, and I mean for a band that's this heavy, you
need fuzz.
You want to feel that fucking bass, dude. And then the drums, they do sound the worst. They're not. They don't sound the worst out of every album they've done, but they sound the second worst. It's really, really. I don't know, just like tinny.
Which is crazy because, like, I think his playing on here is better than the last album.
Well, he never was bad.
Well,
that's
no,
sure.
but I'm just saying, like, what a shame that, you know.
Yeah, and a lot of the songs are just flawed because of just the lack of oomph and the crunch that we had from the last one. But overall, it's still a great album. There are moments I don't care for so much on here.
What don't you care for?
Well, I think Lords. It's not even that bad. It's fine.
I love that riff.
I think it's a fine song, and I think it would be better isolated. But at the point in that album or in this album, it's like, all right, it's just another of
sword song.
Yeah, the one I actually think is the most average thing on here is Maiden, Mother, and Crone.
You know, oh man, I always like that song. And it's
yeah, like he's gonna punch me in the face right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I always like that song. You know, I have a tattoo on my back that's like not inspired by the song because I had it before I heard the song. But I guess I've also always been fascinated with the, you know, these Trinity type images.
Okay.
And in this case, it's the Maiden, the Mother, the Crow, and we'll revisit that on the next album too. And so yeah, I on this album I just I like getting lost in the medieval fantasy world.
There is a lot of that. Although in Maiden, Mother, and Crone, I do really like the section. There's a section that they return to in the outro, but it's in the middle of the song as well.
Mm-hmm.
Good moments. But to go back to the medieval stuff, the intro to take the Black.
Yes.
I'm assuming that was the one on Guitar Hero.
No, it wasn't. It was Freya and then the Black
River. That's right. That one, man, like that really sounds like demo quality, that intro, which is a bummer. But like I would say almost out of the entire discography, that song ended up sticking in my head the most.
Interesting.
Specifically because of that section at 3:15, where it's just, it reminds me of the bootlegger from the Melvins, where it's just a super heavy song played with acoustic guitars. It's not like an acoustic section. It is a heavy, brutal doom metal band playing with acoustic guitars.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into that. Yeah, it just happens to be using acoustic.
Yeah, just pick up like a thing of
Mead? A sign of mead?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that riff has been stuck in my head for like 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah, I think ultimately though, and even though I enjoy this, it doesn't have songs that stick with me the way songs on the previous album do.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's still riffs galore, there's still heaviness, but like I think there's like some like catchy things on the first album too, that just outside of how heavy the sax, it's not, I don't think this is like designed to have things that get stuck in your head. And even though you said that,
that was mostly because of like just the shift into
the sheer audacity.
Yeah. But yeah, the writing has taken a hit. It's not like bad. It's just less memorable overall. It's a very overall downgrade. It's very like a on the whole thing. You can't point to like, well, this song is bad and drags the whole thing down. It's not like that. But one thing that is consistent with the whole thing, I think this is the worst vocal album.
Okay.
Not just in production, which it also is, but this one above all the other ones. I tried to ignore, but I couldn't. I mean, he's singing in the same handful of notes the entire album. And it's the same key, the same exact. So his voice sounds exactly the same on every song. And even if it's fine for the first couple and it doesn't sound bad, like eventually it's like, why are there vocals at all? Like if it sounds exactly the same.
Yeah, it is easy to this kind of like get in the opposite way where I like to get lost, but like get lost in a bad way where you're like, oh yeah, I'm here. I forgot this was all.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair criticism.
Yeah. Although it is better on multiple listens and when you're driving or doing something that involves, I mean, if you're working out.
I'm probably stoned.
Yeah, I think I listened to some of this stoned. I don't remember which albums though, because I was stoned.
Yeah.
But I think it worked. I think it worked.
That's hence the name of the genre.
Oh yeah. But time to move on to the final album with fucking Vivid. What's his fucking name? Trivet. It's almost worse than the
I want to call him Trivet Wendigo and assume he's some sort of mythical beast type thing. Yeah.
Boy, before we move on, I almost forgot. This was 102 in the Billboard 200.
Not bad for a band like this.
Exactly. This was partially engineered and produced and mixed by the band. Bassist Richie did the mixing, who I'm blaming for it sounding not so great.
Was the other guy too busy? Was he not available? Because
maybe, I don't know what happened. Is this a different label? I forget, but yeah. And then then JD did some of the other production. So it was basically produced by Richie and JD, and I think it's the last time that we get an album produced by them.
They learned their lesson,
I think, or maybe they just need more practice. Because it's mostly the drums and bass, and it's funny because the bass sounds the most buried, and he was the one doing the mixing.
He butchered himself.
I feel like that happens sometimes where you don't want to feel like you're throwing your dick over everything.
It's like an overcompensation.
Exactly. That's what happened. With Fugazi, check out that episode from a million years ago, where Steady Died of Nothing. The first mix of that, the band did it as a group, as like a team, and it was so democratic that everyone didn't want to step on each other's toes, so it ended up sounding really shitty because no one was taking charge and like doing what was best for the album. Yeah, that kind of stuff does happen. You have to kind of take chances and lay down the law every once in a while, but. This is mastered by J.J. Golden, who also did Nebula, Trail of Dead, Calexico, Silkworm, and Oxbow. It's a nice eclectic group of bands there. Now it's the last album with fucking Trivet, Wendigo, or whatever it was that we think his name is. That's not nice, but
It's a cool fucking name. I don't care if
it is a very cool name.
Even if we mispronounce it, it's a cool name.
Repeatedly mispronounce it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is like this next one is their only concept album, which is a very
kind of crazy because the other two do feel
with all like the Scandinavian stuff and the themes,
the medieval fantastical stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, this came out 2010. This is Warp Riders.
When this came out, I was kind of disappointed by this album.
Oh, because we're hearing quite the intro.
Yes.
Very epic, cinematic.
Yes. But it does also kind of feel like an outlier a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, you know, however old I was in 2010, The Sword doing a sci-fi album produced by Matt Bayless, I was like, this is going to be record of the year.
Yeah. Just for the credits alone.
Yeah.
And this album has a lot of credits on it. It's like, we'll get into it, but
once time kicked in and I let the hype die down, I do like this album. It's just not what...
It's a different band. Well, it's the same band, but it's a shift.
Yes. And I think for me, it's not enough of a shift that I want.
Fair enough. I mean, production is back.
I mean, Matt Bayless is...
He does heavy very well.
Yeah. One of my favorite producers.
So this whole song, yet another instrumental. We're never going to get to vocals on this band.
No.
They have a lot of instrumental songs, but it's a I don't want to say bold, but kind of bold, where it's a full big song and it's just instrumental. It's like a Red from King Crimson thing, opening the album with a long instrumental.
That ride cymbal sounds good again.
Yes, it does.
God, those quick little...
Oh, yeah. All right. So it's metal, in case you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
This one let me down when I first heard it, for sure.
Yeah, but, you know, I like it now. It's just not... I expected these big, like, sci-fi themes. It has that synth.
I mean, the cover of the album alone.
Yeah,
like it's such a great cover.
Old sci-fi. I have, like, the poster. Like, I pre-ordered, like, the deluxe edition of this album.
Yeah.
I was so fucking excited for it. And so, to my surprise... What you get is a more ZZ Top.
Yep. Oh, yeah. This is hard rock, dude.
Which is fine. Like, it's fine. I just feel like I wasn't prepared.
The follow-up track, Tres Brujas.
There we go. Made Mother the Crow again.
Man, that one, that was where I was like, oh, whoa. I mean, it's fine. It's cool. It's a lot better on second listen, but on first listen, I was like, oh, man, I don't really care for this so much. It's just, it's just hard rock. ZZ Top, yeah. And then I didn't really like the vocals. They sound better produced for sure, but he's not doing anything interesting. By the end of the album, I kind of turned around in the vocals. I like them more now. But overall, I had to step away and listen to it in different context to enjoy this one.
I like I mean, I do like a lot on here. I do
as well. I like almost every song.
Taper things. But like Arrows in the Dark is cool because you get some. I feel bad that my vocabulary for describing things is other bands, but like some Baroness inspired guitars on there, which is nice.
Decent track for sure.
Lawless Lands is like this cool blending of like ZZ Top, groovy stuff.
It almost has like a Heart, the band Heart kind of rhythm.
Yeah, you get some like psychedelic stuff in there, so that's a neat little song.
Insanely sleazy, but really tight and snappy. Very southern. Again, the ZZ Top stuff coming in, but it's very, I don't know, it's really big and triumphant as it goes on.
And then This is still the sword, so you still need a ripper in there, and that's Astera's Dream.
Oh, Astera's Dream, yeah.
This,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
love it. I mean, again, another instrumental. All the instrumental songs are like the thrashy, heavier, more metal stuff.
I think the title track's a little underwhelming.
I don't love it. I think it's fine. I do like JD's vocals on that track though. The only song I actually don't like is Night City.
I knew you were gonna fucking say that.
Fucking corny, dude.
I want to go to the night sky. They go like full Thin Lizzy there. I'm for it.
Oh, I don't love it. I don't love it at all.
Yeah.
I see the appeal of it though. I'm not like flabbergasted.
This needed like a goofy album cover. If it had like a goofy,
and the thing is, that's the thing. Like, I don't even understand the concept. I mean, it's documented. The concept and the story is well documented on Wikipedia by some crazy.
If you
fan.
want to get into that, yes.
But it doesn't feel like musically like a concept album, and especially doesn't fit like the sci-fi stuff of it. There's not like any sci-fi songs on here.
No, if it was like promoted as like a wacky, funny, like Deep Purple, like let's go space trucking, like yeah, that's what you should have promoted it as.
Even though I still love the concept and art of it all, it just doesn't feel very conceptual. That's a weird convoluted sentence.
Our friend Jared, he loves the album art for this.
It's great.
He doesn't listen to this band, but like he always looks at the poster when he comes. He's like, I love it so much.
It's great. I'm jumping back and forth between this cover art being my favorite and another one. I don't know, but I really do love this one just because of the aesthetic. And I think the artist, what's his name? Dan McFarlane. He's done a bunch of art for a bunch of bands that I don't know. And the same with our history guy, Tom. He's not familiar, but they're all very fucking cool. They're all in similar styles, really retro and old and stuff. But back to the album.
And then, I think it's so weird. Like that first song we played, and then tracks 9 and 10 are these big epic sci-fi.
Those are the best tracks on the album for me. Those are my two favorite songs. So we have like the two-parted, the Chronomancer songs. There's part 1 on side 1, and then of course 2 and 2.
They are the most evil sounding thing. Or Chronomancer 2.
2, because 1 starts out, I mean, as bar rock as you get.
Yes.
And it's also like the longest song on here, like 7.5 minutes. But it's fun. It's more fun than you would expect from a big epic song like that.
Yes.
And then 2 is where it's just it just rips.
Yes.
And it sounds especially hard following Night City. Insane.
Oh yeah. That's kind of why I'm a fan of a song like a Night City, because I love the contrasts where like the previous album, I think we were like flooded out with too much heaviness.
Yeah.
Where like you can do a fun song like Night City, and then you hit them.
I'm all for throwing in a novelty weird track. I just happen to not enjoy it.
Not that particular one. Yeah.
And then the closer, the night the sky cried, Tears of Fire, is I think moodier than all the other ones, a little bit darker.
For sure.
They start dabbling with darker riffs as the albums go on, but here it's kind of novel.
So weird. Just like cut out the entire middle of the album.
Yeah, and it's fucking fantastic. Just get rid of the bulk. No, it's still cool, but
I do like the bulk.
But the bookends are very cool.
Yes.
That closer is fucking great. And of course it has the outro that mirrors the intro with the big cinematic thing, which is like the only thing that kind of feels sci-fi.
Yeah. Cause like maybe some of the lyrics are,
of course, I'm sure the lyrics,
but even like Tris Brujas still feels like they're in the like fantasy realm. Cause if you don't speak Espanol, that would be the 3 witches.
That would be 3 witches indeed. So of course Matt Bailey's produced this, and he also did some synth and organ stuff on here. I'm assuming on the intro and outros. And yeah, I mean, we talked about him in the past, of course, from producing Mastodon, and then founding Minus the Bear, which I've had maybe mixed things to say about that band. And then ISIS, check out that episode.
Yes,
the Blood Brothers, check out that episode. Soundgarden, check out that epised. And then Ken Mode and Deftones.
I guess we're doing Ken Mode and Deftones.
We have to just cover every Matt Bailey's band except for Minus the Bear.
Yes, that would be kind of funny. Like putting Lars Ulrich on the guest list.
It is the same thing. Why not?
Yeah.
So this is where Wingo man, I should call him Trivet because calling someone Wingo just sounds funny. This is where he leaves.
Mhm.
And this is from him. He says, not to get too specific, but my level of anxiety pertaining to being on tour got to the point where medication was not the answer. You can crunch Valiums all the time, but at a certain point, you have to ask yourself if you should be just staying at home. I didn't want to sedate myself and do something that I wasn't enjoying. I figured it was better for me to finally listen to my inner voice and strike out on my own. Damn.
I hate to hear it, but also good on him for doing what's good for his mental health instead of becoming as some 41 would say, a casualty of society.
End up like a guy from for the Sound and just fucking jumping in front of a train kind of situation.
Or Matt, or like this being like, did DRI, we've done so many crazy, did DRI, yeah, they did like a lot of crazy shit, right?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're pretty.
Guys, I've done too many episodes. What was that band we did where they recruited like a guitarist who was like really way too young to be in the band?
That might have been DRI.
And he just got kind of burnt out on.
Well, no, DRI was the one where they had the drummer who kept going to jail.
Okay.
And they couldn't leave the state because he was on probation. So they had to just get a new drummer.
There we go. It was probably I'm just gonna
fuck it, whatever.
Were they from Texas?
They were from Texas as well.
There we go.
There's a connection. Yeah, that's wild, man. He was just that anxious to fucking.
As someone who feels like they get more anxiety the older they get, I get it.
That's I
can't imagine being on tour and dealing with these things.
Oh, Jesus.
Let alone, maybe some of these tours, if you aren't opening for Metallica, aren't paying all the bills too. Maybe.
Yeah, you never know. A lot of it is just grinding and struggling, and living with a bunch of dudes.
Or maybe you're burnt out, but you got to do the Metallica tour because you need to pay the bills. Like,
I'd hope that paid something. I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did. But he's now gone. And now we have Santiago Jimmy Vela III. Quite a name on that guy.
Well, I guess Jimmy is
his nickname.
Yeah.
But
if he was in the Mars Volta, they wouldn't let him be called Jimmy, and they would be like, "What's your mother's maiden name?" Pop that in front of the Vela. Now you're.
I'm gonna need you to have 3 more names on top of your existing name. Hyphenate them all.
Yes, pop the maiden name back in there. Santiago something Vela III. Now you can join.
There we go. He was previously of the band Recover, who's apparently a post-hardcore band that I've never heard of.
Never heard of either. But
he is here for until the end. They had like one guy in between touring.
Yeah.
What's his name? Let's just give him a quick little shout out.
Quick shout out for doing dirty work that some people don't want to do.
Kevin Fender.
Doesn't play guitar. What a shame.
I know. Missed opportunity for his parents. I don't know.
And another way of, copying ZZ Top. The guy named Frank Beard doesn't have a beard.
One of my absolute favorite ironic things in all of music. It's one of the greatest.
It is.
Because how many other bands in the world
are known for their beard?
None.
Yeah.
None. Absolutely none. So great.
The one guy with beard.
And why would his name is fucking Frank Beard?
Is he gonna grow one? No, he's not even gonna grow.
Good.
He'll do a mustache.
Yes.
Not
good. I love it. Anyway, yeah, this is yet another album. Okay, we're moving on. This is 2012's Apocryphon.
Also, this is the best album art, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I still like fucking Warp Riders more.
Yeah.
Or not more. I like it a lot. But this one is... You can't argue with this album cover.
This album cover is getting a little head, I feel like, wasted.
We gonna talk. Because I do really like this song. Also the best production yet. Very chunky.
I guess Razor and Tie is an upgrade.
They're on Razor and Tie now, NYC label. Vocals. So Sabbath-y, those vocals. really like these riffs. It's that's so Thin Lizzy. That little, but it's like it's still hard rock, but there is a little bit more depth to it. They're trying. There's more personality in these riffs.
I like this song. I think it's a solid addition in her career. But I think I wanted them to kind of move forward.
It's not a huge,
And this is not the album.
It's just basically the same style.
In some way, they're reverting.
I don't think they're reverting.
Okay.
I don't think they're reverting.
Okay, we're gonna get into it.
I do like that choice there to go to that last note there. That's a smart choice. So that's that song. That's a very cool song. Bastion, I know we have to fight now. I think this is their best album. I actually quite like this album a lot. What is it? Worst? You're out of your fucking mind.
Worst suddenly.
You're out of your fucking mind. This is such a good album. You're crazy. You're crazy, dude. What's happening here?
I feel like they're just spinning their wheels a little bit on this album.
It is. So you see it as spinning wheels. I see it as fine tuning what they started on the last album.
It's so interesting how the guy who started off the podcast with, I thought this was actually going to break you because
this is more the same.
Yes.
It felt just more cohesive, more fully formed, more confident. I think this is their most confident album, period.
Okay.
It feels like we're doing this thing. We're going in to do this thing. And they fucking did it.
And here I am, the fan going into it.
I mean, that's just what I took out of it from just a couple listens, but I immediately liked it, which is like, I couldn't say the same thing about almost any other album.
Yeah. This is like my most neglected album by them. Like I've heard it a handful of times. Mm-hmm. And then while doing it for the podcast, I was like, I know why.
Oh man. There's some stuff that I do get being like, all right, it's more rehashing and it's not very interesting. Like Cloak Feathers, I think it's fine. It still feels good, but it's like it's more the same, and there's really nothing new they've done on there.
Let me say, that song is repetitive, but that is impressive drumming. Like this Santiago fellow.
Oh, he's great. He's great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And the other song that I definitely don't care for, and it feels like a huge step backwards, is Hawks and Serpents.
Yes. That's that song, especially after Seven Sisters, is just like those two songs. I'm just like, I'm tired, boss.
Oh, I love Seven Sisters. I think it's great. And that's also has the first actual clean sections on the album.
I will say this isn't a bad album. I'm just like, guys, I need something.
They are definitely not, what is it? They don't take leaps.
No, they don't. They don't. And I should know better.
They crawl. These motherfuckers crawl.
Let me say that opening song I like a lot. And then the other song I like, my two takeaways from this, like the positive things, Dying Earth is just...
Oh yeah, fantastic.
Rules so hard. I felt kind of a little like underwhelmed a little bit, and then the drumming was so good I stayed engaged, and it's one of my favorites.
Love it. I think it's great. It's very bouncy, very cool, and some really good harmonies. I didn't really think of Thin Lizzy, but now that I go back to it, I can see very obviously inspired by them. One of the most melodic songs ever. They get melodic more with the later albums, but up to this point it's kind of unheard of.
If you want to go like melodic and a little mellow, the Hidden Masters is kind of feels this is how much bands like this love Black Sabbath. Yeah, that this song isn't enough for me to say it's like Black Sabbath, that I have to cite a specific Sabbath song where I was thinking about NIB.
Oh man, that so Hidden Masters turned me off at first. I was like, this is just, there's so much Sabbathness to it, and but like it didn't hurt the momentum of the album for me. So I was like, it's not, I won't count it as a fucking knock. I don't like it, but it doesn't like slow things down. Second listen, I like it more. I don't mind it at all, but I do acknowledge that it's not the most inventive thing in the world.
No, I'm not even saying it's a ripoff. It just made me think.
It just but this band just feels like Sabbath.
Sure.
Most of the time.
This is the genre I've decided.
Yeah. And that's what it is. It's just what they all do pretty much. But,
And then, I think the title track is underwhelming for me. And
Really? Oh, fucking, it's my favorite song on the album. I think it's a fantastic closer.
I'm like, these synths are too little too late for me.
It does feel like a missed opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the only synth on the entire album. And it's the intro to the last song.
I feel like they've been flirting with synths for like the previous album.
They flirt with synths the entire discography, basically.
And I'm like, just fucking own it. Just do it.
Lean in. They eventually lean in more, but
actually they do. Yes.
it still doesn't feel like enough. It's oddly, but the final 2 tracks I think are really good. I mean, Eyes of the Storm, which isn't, again, not reinventing anything, but it feels great. I like it a lot. But the title track, for me, that song is fully realized stoner rock with a lot of emotion to it. It just feels totally come together.
And maybe I'll come around and change my mind a year from now, because like this is a band I like, and I don't think this sounds bad. I'm just tired of this one.
Tired of the one mode. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's fine. I totally get it.
Yeah.
There was a couple things that I took away. Like the solos on Execrator, I wasn't expecting, and I don't think they do it again. The solos are insanely noisy, super chaotic. They're basically just like nonsense notes with a ton of distortion over it. It's all noise, which usually the solos here are very thought out rock and roll solos.
No, they don't really. This is a loud band. They're not a noisy band.
Yeah. So it was, and again, even those solos are subtle. They're like they're buried in the mix a little bit, but it's like, wow, that's really crazy. They went wild there. They're not really harping on it too much, but it's there. It just felt super consistent. The momentum was always at the fucking top for me. And it just feels, like I said, fully formed. It's like it's the same style as the last one, but it's more thoughtful and engaging. And it felt like all the beats just hit for me.
I don't love it, but it's a band I love. So I'm stoked it's your best.
There's something, even with a band as pretty straightforward as this, there are still avenues of deviation and disagreements, and you can find something here where someone else didn't. That's good to know.
Yes.
That is very good to know.
Also, like, if I was just talking to someone about the Sword instead of doing a podcast, I wouldn't be like, oh, that dog shit. I would in a normal conversation, I would just like listen to you and be like, well, I don't love it. And maybe I'll give it a listen. But we're like, hey, we should give out accolades.
Yeah, this one sucks. And there it is.
There it is.
So at this point, the band moved to, like we said, the intro, Razor and Tie from NYC, which started out as a 70s preservation society in the 90s, releasing 70s themed compilations and albums by David Johansen of New York Dolls. Check out that episode if you don't like them the way we don't.
Feeling hot, hot, hot. I can't believe that's the same.
Hot.
I can't believe that's the same fucking. It's the same guy.
Same guy. Absolutely insane. The Partridge Family and Jim Croce. Check out that episode too.
Hell yeah. Don't mess with Jim.
Fucking love Jim Croce. Tom also adds, he says, you might suppose their approach had changed by 2012, though, in the same year as releasing this album, because they also unleashed Kids Bop Ultimate Hits, Kids Bop Kids, Kids Bop Christmas, and the legendary banger Kids Bop Kids, Kids Bop 23.
That is the craziest album title in the history of albums.
It's called Kids Bop Kids dash Kids Bop.
And if you want, this is a 7-layer burrito. The first Kids is with a Z.
The second Kids
is with an S. And
the third Z is the third one is with a Z again.
Holy shit!
I can't, man. It must have made them some money.
I'm not angry. Whatever you got to do to keep the lights on and keep bands like the Sword paid.
I can't believe those were all released the same year as this on the same label.
You know, that's not. Also, this. There's so many things. Kids Bop Ultimate Hits.
Kids Bop Kids dash Kids Bop Christmas.
Sorry, that's the second most insane one.
Yeah.
I was too busy. Why do these album titles need to be?
I fucking don't know.
Can you just not be like Kids Bop Christmas exclamation mark?
Nope.
Kids Bop 23. Why should? Oh, do you think it's credited like the artist?
The artist is Kids Bop Kids, but the album is Kids Bop 23. Absolutely. Also, why is the artist Kids Bop Kids? We know it's their kids. It's Kids Bop.
I was like,
Oh, God.
this is the best part of the episode.
I'm trying to decipher Kids Bop.
I'm sorry, the sword.
Dude.
But there's what else are we going to talk about? Kids Bop.
At least the album sounds good, though. It's clearly a lot of money behind it.
Yes.
Strong production.
Man, I wasn't expecting a breakdown.
Also, this reached number 17 in the top 200.
Is that their highest?
I think it's the
album?
highest, yeah.
Yeah. So like, it was so crazy because I think I kind of like stopped listening to them as much around this time, but clearly I was in the wrong. And
that doesn't necessarily mean wrong. It just means it happened to land.
Yeah. So obviously they had more fans than ever. Also, I've only seen this band twice.
Oh, wow.
Fucking shame.
That's shocker. This was co-produced by Jay Robbins, who also did Shiner. Check out that episode. Clutch and Blue Tip.
I don't know Blue Tip, but I love Clutch. I'm like, that guy's vocals are the best, and I was kind of upset he didn't weigh 300 pounds.
Oh, did he have the like kind of guttural neck vocals?
Oh, bang, 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 bang.
There we go.
Vamonos.
Oh,
I get satisfaction.
The John Goodman voice, where
everywhere I go.
You feel the weight, even if he lost the weight.
Yeah, I don't think he was ever chunky, but like when I heard his vocals, I was like, I want him to look like Pig Destroyer.
Oh, I bet he doesn't.
No, he doesn't, and that probably wouldn't be healthy. But
no, you'll die very young.
But yeah, he sounds like if John Goodman did like bluesy hard rocks.
Oh, interesting. We've gotten plenty of requests to do Clutch for sure.
Clutch I love Clutch, but they have 1 million albums.
Yeah.
They came out with an album last year.
I actually did. I heard that one. I didn't love it.
I love Clutch, but I don't know if they can ever make my year end. I will listen to that album and buy that album, but realistically,
it's another. Was it like another The Sword, where it's just they have their thing?
They are like The Sword.
Look at that. That's fucking fitting. But we have more. My best. And Alex's worst and least favorite, because that happens sometimes. We can't always agree, but
we did have a good run a few months ago where I felt like we were
every single episode. It was like 6 in a row where we just kept having the same picks.
Crazy,
unheard of. That's probably never going to happen again. But this is 2015's High Country.
I love this opening track.
Oh, so unexpected. What the fuck?
I know you don't like him, but it does sound like something like Jack White would do.
It does. I don't dislike him. I just think he's overrated.
Sure, okay. Like,
the synth elements are there.
Yeah, are we listening to like a Beastie Boys though?
Yeah, it does feel like Beastie Boys. Holy shit. It has the hand claps?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is this?
This is kind of misleading though, but I still dig it.
It's extremely misleading, which is my problem with the band in general. Like, they'll set you up, and then we get, well, that was the whole song, but then we get this.
You know what? This is a very pretty album cover, too.
It's very pretty, yeah.
It's still the sword.
Still the sword.
I love this riff though more.
It's a good riff.
I don't know. This kind of feels like there's an energy on this album that I wasn't getting on the last one, but you got.
Well, let's play some vocals that come in for a second.
It's kind of like
singing lower now.
It is kind of like mellow sword, which is this is the album they did the acoustic one, which makes sense.
It does. His vocals actually kind of sound like the dude from All Them Witches now.
Yes, that's why I was like, it's funny if they just form a super group with opera.
His cadence is also very Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy, and the entire thing is very 70s, even 60s in some places. Worst least favorite. This one.
Oh shit! There's a sort of like weird, not like a Captain Beefheart weird, but like just these kind of like little pepperings of different things throughout this album that I appreciate.
This is the first album where they start actually experimenting and doing stuff that we've never heard from them, and that gives me like the idea, like, oh wow, they're experimenting, but and then in other instances, it's such an insane regression, and it feels so derivative and boring. Like the title track is one come on, it's not bad, but we've heard it a million times.
See, on that one, I was like, why didn't you use synths like that on Warp Rider?
Yeah.
Or the previous one. So I think that's what it's weird. It's like, oh shit, we should have done this on the last two albums. Well,
they do have a lot of interesting and pretty cool synth stuff on a lot of the album. It's more integrated. It still doesn't feel like a full member of the team, but it's around a lot more. But even with the addition, it can't save some, in my opinion, train wrecks like Seriously Mysterious. I mean, come on, man. That's so cheesy.
Again, you know, if I was ready to go to Night City, you better believe I'm Seriously Mysterious.
God damn it.
That sounds like a fucking Beck song. As I think that's just in my character. If you've been listening to a long time, if a band does like wacky stuff, I'm just going to be on board.
I appreciate it. It doesn't mean I like listening to it.
Sure.
One so that one was like, oh boy, that's pretty cheesy. And then one that where it was kind of like dawning on me that I was going to give this worse is Early Snow, which I think just stinks. I mean, I'll give you, it has the novelty of horns, and
that works for me.
Holy shit. That turned it around for you? It was not. It couldn't pull it out of the gutter for me.
I'm like, this is there's horns.
There are horns. It is very unusual.
I love it. Let me tell you, I'm not going to do it anymore, to the point where I was questioning if I should play that as the closing song.
Really?
Just because it's so insane.
It is insane. I think it's awful.
I won't put you through that now.
It's kind.
So I'm glad you said that.
Oh shit.
Yeah. What about something like Silver Petals? Which I think is a great example of highlighting like how talented the guitar playing is in this band, because on that song, you just can't highlight the guitar playing with the heavy, and it's just like, oh shit, they can do these like different riffs that don't sound like the Sword.
It doesn't sound like a Sword. My only problem with it is that the first minute it sounds a lot like Blackbird from the Beatles. It has the exact same
does sound like
rhythm. It doesn't. It's a different notes, but it's the same exact plucking, which is it's hard to say. It's like, yeah, it's a different song, but Beatles just kind of stole, and I don't mean like stole from someone else. They just hijacked that plucking rhythm.
When you hear it, it's
always synonymous with, like, put it on. Like you're gonna hear Blackbird, even though it's completely different notes. You just hear Blackbird. It's not exactly, but it feels like it, right? It's still its own thing, and plenty of other folk songs have used that plucking style. Millions of folk songs, but it always just reminds you of that. However, after a minute, when the rest of the song comes in, fucking rules. It's very different.
Could I sell you on Turn to Dust?
Turn to Dust.
Because I will say this band doesn't really do haunting stuff at all, really. And I wish they, like we said on a million other things, I want not just multiple, like I want a whole album kind of fueled by.
Turn to Dust was one where it's like, the riffs are the Sword. It's the Sword, but the production changes what it is entirely.
Yeah.
It's a whole different production. It's like a colder, more distant, darker production.
I want that album.
I want it too.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's where that's like the kind of progression I was hoping there would be more of, where it's like, it's the band, but it feels different.
Yes.
I mean, unfortunately, we just get the one song, but it's still a good song.
This album is kind of like throwing a lot of shit at the wall. And for some people, it doesn't stick. But for me, I think like a cohesive like vision would have been cool, but there's so much like wacky different stuff on here. I like it. There's
a lot of just ideas just tried here. And some of them I think land so much that it really bothers me that there isn't more of it, like Agartha, which rules.
That is like, they have a lot of instrumentals, and that is
absolutely one of their best.
Yes.
It's so dark. It's so evil. It's so synthy.
This album's almost a battle of light and dark in some ways.
Yeah. A battle of shitty and amazing. That's what it's like. I love so much of what they're trying here, but the stuff in between, I can't stand. And the biggest, one of the biggest offenders that I hinted to way earlier, this I think is their worst drum sounding album ever. They are so weak and tiny and small, and there's the songs that should be heavy and crunchy, like the title track,
especially because we've been at the peak of the mountain.
We know how they can be. We know that they are heavy, and these songs aren't as heavy as the other stuff, but they're still heavy songs. But they feel just diminished and neutered because of the drum sound, which is I think a shame. But there are the last thing I'll mention, Mist and Shadow, another one where I want more of that. Like the dynamics on that one, with the way they bring everything down, and the fact that it's more bluesy. It's like, I don't like bluesy stuff, but I like how they decide to implement it just out of nowhere.
Yeah, that song is a perfect example of, it's still the sword, but there's enough subtle changes where you're like, this is new and interesting to my ears.
That would have, if the whole album were like that, then I would call this a step forward.
Technically, you could get like a few different albums out of this one.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also their longest album, and it does feel like it has the most fat on it.
I guess you don't like it, so you would say that. I think that the next one has more fat.
Interesting. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. This time, this is produced by Adrian Quesada. Apparently, he's a Grammy winner. I think his previous group was a Grupo Fantasma, were Grammy winners, which they're more. I think this guy has more of a, at least according to Tom, more of like a funk and soul pedigree. He's done Brown Out. A coat soul sounds, Golden Dawn Orchestra, all things I don't know.
Yes, so Brown Out is cool because they did like Latin funk Black Sabbath songs, so that makes sense for him to work with the sword.
100%.
And Brown Out is cool. Check out Brown Out.
Interesting.
Also, let me double. They also did a Public Enemy one too.
Oh shit!
Called Fear of a Brown Planet.
Okay, that's pretty on the nose. Fair enough.
Yeah. So I haven't listened to the Public Enemy. I'm going to, but I've listened to the Sabbath ones. Good shit.
Nice. This album artwork was done. This made me laugh. The art was done by Jeter Green, which if you go to his Discogs page, he has one credit, which is this album, and the biggest bio. Like the biggest, longest, most clearly written by himself.
Yeah.
It's so fucking funny.
Yeah. Cheddar, come on,
dude.
Sell yourself, but rein it in a little bit. I like the artwork on here, though.
It is a cool album cover. And this one made it to number 30 in the Billboard.
Still doing
all right.
Yeah.
It also made its way onto the Australian and German charts. And yeah, like you said, they released Low Country after this, I think the following year, which was just it's like 10 of these tracks
done acoustically,
but acoustic, which
they're okay. I've listened to it. Yeah, I don't know. I just think there's enough like acoustic stuff as is where
Yeah, it's more novel. The same way we'd look at any other kind of MTV Unplugged type thing. It's not live, but I mean, just that kind of sentiment, or it's just it might be neat to hear it like this instead.
Obviously, Unicorn Farm is just totally different.
Yeah, I remember some years back, Metallica did like a live acoustic album, and I didn't listen to the whole thing because I was so disappointed. I was like, Disposable Heroes? Fuck yeah! And I put it on, and it's like, oh, it's just a blues riff, and it's not even the same song. It's like they just made a whole new song and called this. I was like, all right, never mind, fuck this.
You know what I did my last trip out to the desert? Because it's been a while. I listened to S&M.
Really?
And then I listened to S&M 2.
How did that go? I haven't heard the second one.
S&M 2 is... I'm like... I don't love those albums. And even though they're why I'm a Metallica fan, because MTV would show S&M a lot, and that's... Yeah. But yeah, I'm trying to compile like an S&M playlist of like the best stuff on the two albums. But overall, I think there's a lot of missed opportunities.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I remember when the first one came out, I was like, oh my God, it's a new Metallica. Because I liked them before it came out. I was a tiny little child.
Also, No Leaf Clover fucking rules.
The song does rule. It does rule.
How many fucking bullshit sorry, not that the songs are bullshit, but they've like orchestral soundtracked all these like pop rock songs for trailers, and not one fucking person has decided to put No Leaf Clover in a movie trailer. It's a fucking gimme.
Really? No one?
All the hard work is done for you. You don't need to do shit. It's just there.
Instead of doing fucking edgy covers of songs that are already good.
Yeah.
It was a trend. It was a heavy trend.
It's probably
is it still going?
Still is.
Fuck that shit. Oh God, it drives me crazy.
The only good one and best one, because they actually used it in the fucking movie, was in Jordan Peele's Us. I got 5 on it.
Oh, really?
I love the creepy Us version of I Got 5, and it fucking works in the context.
All right, fair enough.
That's the only one. I digress.
I open myself to being wrong. But my worst and least favorite, is there anything else that happened around this time period? I don't believe so. They also put out a live album called Greetings From, but obviously we don't do live albums. But
sometimes we do, but very, very, very rarely.
Yeah, it's usually got to be a huge exception. Fine album, but wonky, uneven, and with a lot of shit I don't like, a lot of shit I do like, but just a bunch of ideas thrown at a dartboard, and it feels, and it's too much. It's just too much for me.
It's a disjointed mess that I enjoy.
Fair enough. But we are on to the last one. We're finally at the very end. And you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. This is 2018's Used Future. Now this is dramatic.
Yes, it is.
Pianos. I wasn't expecting fucking pianos.
Yeah, this is cool.
I love it. I think it's great. Yeah. Of course, we're going to be let down because they never lean into this stuff too much.
Of course, it's going to turn into the soul.
Yeah, always does. Oh my God. I was so pissed off when I heard this. Like, come on, it's just more fucking hard rock.
Song rules.
It's a good song. It is good. It's just not what it introduced in that interlude.
Yeah, you think you're watching 2001: A Space Odyssey, and then
he's crazy.
I don't know what movie to compare this to, but
Easy Rider, dude.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's still a good movie.
Yeah, of course.
You pretend to know he walks.
And his vocals are really similar to all the Witches.
Way more toned down, way more in his like chest register. He's not pushing, he's not yelling too much. It's all very comfortable. So we've heard the sword at this point. And I do like this album more than the last one, obviously, but it still has a little bit of that not leaning into certain things the way I think they really should have, and falling back on some tropes too much. A lot of the same old shit. I mean, that song is fine, but it really is the same old shit.
Let me tell you, the biggest missed opportunity here is, like, obviously me and Mike can sit here and armchair quarterback it and say they should have done this, they should have done that. But we can't really do something that actually could happen. How is Nocturne not the opening fucking track?
That song is one of their best songs.
It's full Carpenter shit.
It's so good. I mean, yeah, sure, it's instrumental, but they've opened albums with instrumentals before. But it's a fully fleshed out piano synth, insanely dark and dramatic, but beautifully written.
And it's different.
It's completely different. Completely different. And it would have been a nice follow-up to Prelude. It would have at least thematically fit in with that, but you still would have been smacked in the face by whatever hard rock song because there's plenty of those still on here. Like it's still very disjointed and uneven because the sword is always the sword. But you get like Nocturne is just unlike anything, and it's like this, more of this, and then you get stuff that makes me sad, like Intermezzo, which is a interlude, but it's super proggy and really fucking cool, and it's only a minute, like 20 seconds, but that could have been fleshed out. That could have been a whole thing.
The only thing that like bums me out a lot on here is the title track.
Fucking Stink City, dude.
It's very meh.
Yeah.
I will say, you know, we've been talking a lot about their instrumentals, and Wild Sky is in the top 3 for me, I think.
100%.
So good.
That is one of their best instrumentals because it doesn't. Well, a lot of their instrumentals are well done and like they kind of follow their own path. But that one, it's like a mini journey. There's no traditional structures whatsoever. It's not like there's not a whole lot of returning to sections and riffs. It's very much like we're going on this path, we're going to this part, and then we're going to this part, and it feels like a constructed instrumental. It has some really great rhythms, especially in that intro where it's like, well, I've never heard them do that thing before. That's fucking crazy. It's also very dark and spacey, more so than we're used to from them. Great fucking song.
Sea of Green is kind of a weird vibe. It's like,
oh yeah, it is.
I like it.
I don't
really, because it's kind of like these fuzzy synths with like light sword riffs.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the only way I could like think to describe it is I'm like, it's kind of like a mellow epic song. Like
it's bizarrely happy.
Yeah,
like that intro is like poppy. I mean, I think it's their happiest song in their entire discography, which is bizarre. I didn't find it to be all that interesting outside of that, though.
How'd you feel about Come and Gone?
I dug it.
All right.
Yeah.
Because that one does kind of kill me because I'm like, there's some interesting stuff here that I like.
It's like psychedelic Southern.
Yes.
That's what it feels like, which is that is unique. I haven't heard too much of that.
I feel like bands have attempted it, but it goes too heavy in one or the other direction without juggling it. And that song actually is like
nails it.
Perfect balance.
That's the evolution I was hoping for the whole album. Like, because clearly they like the synth stuff. They like the more dramatic and dark stuff, and they can do it well. But it's always just been completely dichotomized with the other stuff. It's always just been this black and white. And that one, we have a nice gray.
Yes.
The full plunge, we're finally doing it. We're taking a huge risk and jumping off the cliff here with Brown Mountain. The full plunge into country rock.
Yes.
And I think it's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. I mean, they're from Texas. They've already been flirting with like ZZ Top stuff.
Yep.
Just do it.
And I think it's good. It's another instrumental. I'm like many of them, but I was like, this isn't terrible. And as it went on, I was like, this is pretty good. And then second lesson, I was like, this is real good. Yeah, they nailed it. It doesn't feel like goofy or dorky at all. And it's a closer, which is also a bold move.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's
that's the outro, but
yeah, it's Yeah, this isn't the swan song this band deserves, though. And
No.
I feel old that I witnessed a band have a healthy career start to
Yeah, 19 years.
form and break up,
Yeah.
not under any like wacky circumstances. I feel old that I've got to witness this.
Yeah, you saw the entire lifetime of a band.
And yeah, maybe someday down the road there'll be a Sword reunion.
Maybe. This one bummed me up because while the last album did set up where they could go next, this one was like, oh, there was a lot here. There's a bunch here.
And maybe they just have to break up. Maybe they'll do like one of the few rare good reunion albums.
Maybe
years from now.
It bothers me because in the statement that JD put out, he's like, I think we've said all we need to say. I was like, what?
No,
what? Shut up.
No.
Really?
I believe in you guys the way Jarbo believes in
the Swans. Yeah.
Like I don't know. And that's the reason I like continue to listen to them for so long. It's like, no, you guys still have like some untapped potential in there somewhere. Like
clearly there's a lot. God damn it. Just maybe there's no more to say with the fucking
sword.
With the sword with all the fucking hard rock Black Sabbath stuff, but there's a whole bunch of shit in there with the rest that they're fucking dabbling with here.
Yes, going dark or like going synthy or together or separate, like, even country, like, or like, yeah, do a psychedelic southern rock thing. Like
that would be rad.
Yeah.
And it's because they don't suck. It's all, and that can easily go wrong, but it's a proof of concept here.
I was going to say, yeah, if they weren't talented musicians, they wouldn't be able to pull half this shit off.
Yeah. Again, this isn't like a perfect album, but the stuff that's like bold and a whole new step lands amazingly. The fucking intermezzo stuff, the nocturne stuff, the fucking Brown Mountain, like that, all of that lands. All the bold choices on this album, I think, land.
So yeah, I'm sad they didn't get their just desserts, but there's still time.
JD's a young man. Kyle's a young man. I don't know how they're not young men, but they still have life in them.
Or yeah. Maybe they've started other bands and I haven't been paying attention.
That's what I was thinking.
And those bands will sound like what me and Mike are clamoring for here.
I don't think they've reformed it or they formed anything after this. I think they'd be on the notes.
Also, maybe they just deserve a break. Take a breather.
Maybe a little breather.
Because I think you guys, whether it's the Sword or a different band, there's something in there.
I think there's something in there. Yeah, I agree.
We're rooting for you guys.
I know.
Regardless of what it is. Yeah.
We've been pretty fair. Entire, we're not like gushing about the band, but we're also giving them give them the credit they deserve. There's more. There's more.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy that they're like almost 20. I've listened to this band for 20.
That's crazy. That is so crazy. The bands
they feel new to me still.
The bands that were young when we discovered them will always
veterans.
They'll always feel young to us. I think.
Yeah.
Like that was our band. That was my band. Like, but this song was produced and recorded and mixed by Tucker Martine. I think it's Martine. I don't know. Apparently, according to Tom, he says this dude is big enough to have his own wiki page. He did the Decemberists, Mudhoney, Modest Mouse, John Zorn, and REM way after they were cool, apparently. Which is all right, fair enough.
They were never cool.
I don't think they were ever cool. But in regards to this album, Kyle, he said, We've been finally able to take a step back and let the producer that we selected stir the pot a little. It was certainly a different experience than any of the other albums that we've done. They recorded it quicker than all the other albums, like in half the time. And they just sort of like, maybe that's why, because like they really let a lot of this was the producer, like maybe lean into that more, which I think is a good thing. Kyle also adds here, which is no surprise to anybody who's been listening. He says, I love Thin Lizzy and ZZ Top.
We all do. Yeah.
But that's part of our DNA at this point. It's not like I wake up every morning and put on Bad Reputation again, although I do love that album and I will do that tomorrow morning. But I don't listen to a lot of metal. In fact, I don't really derive a lot of inspiration from new music at all. Not that surprising.
Not surprising at all, but also, Kyle, there's new bands that I think you would enjoy.
Definitely. A lot of that is like, we're in a unique position where we have to listen to bands that we've never heard all the fucking time. But I think, and I've certainly fallen to this like sandpit of, I'm sure they're fine. I really not that interested. Like, you will enjoy it, but the effort of going out and listening to it, and then there's also the chance that you won't like it, and then you lost that time and you waste that time. And the older you get, the more you don't want to waste your time. I totally get that. But there was always more innovation. There was always more. You have to keep digging. There's always more, especially for a creator. Always keep digging.
Trying to be inspired. Yes.
Yes. But that's just our 2 cents. So on October 20th, 2022, JD,
like recently,
very recently, a few months ago, JD released a statement, and this is an excerpt from the statement. He says, "Hello, friends. I find it my duty to inform you that after much contemplation, I have reached a difficult conclusion that it's time to bring the Sword's long and storied career to a close. When I started the band back in 2004, I could have only hoped for the success that we've enjoyed, and I consider myself extremely lucky to have been able to do it for a living for almost 2 decades. In that time, everything I ever wanted to say and do with the Sword creatively has been said and done, and so the time has come for me to move on to other endeavors."
I hope those other endeavors rule.
I do as well. God damn. And that ends our time with the Sword.
Oh,
It was fun. It was nice. It was rocking. It was definitely rocking.
oh, it was rocking.
Oh, that's all it did, dude. All it did was rock.
The boys are fighting down at Delo's Bar and Grill.
Fuck yeah, dude. Check out the Thin Lizzy episode. Let's do a recap.
For me, best personal favorite, Where It All Begins, Age of Winters. They maybe rode that horse into the ground a little bit, but on that album, it's the best. Worst, least favorite,
Apocryphon.
Apocryphon. Just kind of too much for me, but it's really not even that bad. Mike enjoyed it a lot.
Sure did. In fact, some would say it's my best album. I do think Apocryphon is the best album. It's the most confident and fully formed, and it's not the same doom metal style as the earlier stuff, but I think it's a cool ass album nonetheless. Age of Winters is my personal favorite. For all the reasons Alex listed, it's fucking doom metal at its finest. And High Country, worst and least favorite, because of its fucking uneven goofiness and a lot of the weak tracks in between. There's a lot of weak.
If you like uneven goofiness, though, listen to that album.
I suppose so, or listen to Use Future, which I think does everything about it better.
Yeah.
But we are done. Thank you so much for listening and watching and hanging out. If you want to hang out with us further, then subscribe and leave comments and whatever. Do all that shit. If you want to play along, leave your picks for best and worst in the comments. Talk shit to us if you think we're jackasses. Feel free to do that as well. And follow me on all social media at PanderMonkey. You can follow Alex on Instagram at
Every Album Alex.
Hell yeah. You can please be sure to follow our history guy, Tom Osman, Tom Osman Sounds.com for all of his music stuff. His, like I said before at the top, his new record is coming out tomorrow, or it's already out if you're listening to this later. Industrial State of Mind. So check that out. Links in the description, most likely, hopefully. But TomOsmanSounds.com for everything else. And then his Substack, TomOsman.substack.com for all his writing about music. He also does a lot of interviews. He's gotten a lot of interviews for us. He's done a lot of stuff involving music and writing. It's very cool. Check that out. Patreon.com/everyalbumever for our bread and butter. Bonus episodes, some loose ends episodes that are going to be staying on there forever, essentially. You get to see our schedule in advance. You get to vote on polls to decide who we're covering next. You get to join our Discord, be a part of our community, and suggest our EAE singles episodes. And if you're tier 2, you can suggest a full-ass discography for us to cover on our big numbered episodes. So do that, please, and thank you. My debut EP, Panda Monkey. God, there's so many fucking plugs. Panda Monkey, you can find that in the fucking description. Check that out. Cool, rad. Now, closing track. What's we doing?
You know, it'd be easy to go into the heyday of the sword, but let's show Use Future a little love. Let's go into that wild sky.
Oh yeah, hell yeah! So thanks so much for listening and watching. See ya.